Good morning, Rabotai. Welcome back to Breakfast in the Class. Breakfast in the Class today is dedicated in loving memory of Mr. Edmund J. Safra, Alav Hashalom L'Yushmat, Raphael Edmon Ezra Ben Esther Yaakov, Alav Hashalom for his askara. His philanthropy has reached and continues to reach so many throughout the entire world. I have to just say, although we say that all the time, that's kind of the approved nusach, shall we say, as to what it is and how we speak about Edmund. There's one thing I do need to say. It's not only his philanthropy that we will remember and that we will celebrate. There's something more there as well, and maybe I'll speak about it in just a minute in the actual class. It should be for Ilui Neshama, for him to go higher and higher. As well, sponsored by Stephen Rapport, the Breakfast King, dedicated in loving memory of Nancy Shatrit's mother, Antoinette Cohen, Alei Shalom, Leilu Nishmat, Hana Bat Sarah. As well, the year of Breakfast in the Class, dedicated in loving memory, and Leilu Nishmat, Ruth Orfali Bat Adela, Alei Shalom, sponsored by her family. For Refuah Shlema, for Chana Bat Samafeg and Alei Shalom Mazar Fortuné. And the entire week of Breakfast in the Class is dedicated by the Torah Center Silver Donors, Friends of Birkat Yitzchak, Mexico, in loving memory of Leti Bat Ventura Vivian. Finally, we want to wish a Mazal Tov, dedicated in loving memory, Lilu Nishmat, Mazal Baruchova Bat Leah, Basande V'chizkiah, and Menashe Barachov Ben Zilpa Sipora Moshe. Shalom for the Askara, sponsored by their son David Barachov. Be'ezat Hashem, it should be a tremendous Ilui Neshama. Okay, let's begin. So my friends, I want to share with you something that I found to be very interesting. A beautiful midrash that is brought down. It says the midrash as follows. Vayasor Paro et taba'ato me'al yado. And Paro took his ring off of his finger. Vayiten otar yad Yosef, and he put it onto the hand of Yosef. Vayalbesh oto bigdei shesh, he put on him clothing of linen. Vayasim revid hazahav al tzavaro, and he put a golden choker on his neck. He rides him on the Markevet HaMishneh. He gives him the special chariot. It's like a big deal. There's a whole slew of things that are happening here. And they call out for him, they call him special names, Safnat Paneach, unbelievable. Now, the Midrash says as follows. Amar Rabbi Shimon ben Gamliel. Rabbi Shimon ben Gamliel said, Yosef mishelo natenulo. They gave him from his. We'll see exactly what that means. Piv shelo nashak ba'avera. Yosef had withheld himself from temptation. In a time where no one would have known, where there was no one to rectify him. It's not like he would have to go to his shul that night and people would know what he did. It's not like he's going to see people at the next SY wedding. People are going to say to him, I heard what happened over there with Potifera. There's nobody. There's nobody in his life. There's no, so to speak, physical ramifications for his deed. But he holds himself back because it's not the right thing. Says Rabbi Shimon ben Gamliel, when they gave him from his. Piv shelo nashak be'avera, the mouth that did not kiss be'avera, v'al picha yishak kolami. Paro told him that everything that happens in this country will happen by your word, by your mouth. Gufo, his body, shelo naga be'avera, did not touch the sin. Vayelbesh oto bigdei shesh. It was dressed up, it was adorned with clothing of the finest of linen. Tzavaro, the neck, shelo hirchin la'avera, that he did not bend his neck to the avera. Vayasem revid zahav, they put a golden choker on the neck. Yadav shelo mishmishu, the hands that didn't touch the avera. Vayasor hamelech tabato, he took off his ring, put it on his hands. Raglav shelo pasu, the legs that did not walk, that did not go to avera. Yetun v'yirkevu al kruchin, should be lifted up on the footstool. And he rides him on this chariot. And finally, last but not least, the mind that did not think of the avera, tavo v'tikare chokhmah, should be called and revered for its wisdom. Vayikru'u lefanav avrech. And they called him Avrech. What is Avrech? Av bechokhmah, a father in wisdom, Rach bashanim, young in years. The question is, what is this midrash telling us? What are we learning over here? What's the understanding? Please only answer amen if you're listening to this live. Baruch atah Adonai Eloheinu melech haolam she'akol nהיה baro. The Yefet Toar explained this idea, and he says in a beautiful way. He says, if you look at this pasuk, you think to yourself, all it really needed to say is, and Paro appointed him second in command. I need to know about what ring you gave. It was from Chopard, it was from Chanel. What ring was it? What bag was he carrying? He had a man bag? What did he get him? What kind of shoes? What kind? He had a beautiful horse. Who was it sired from? Did the father win the Triple Crown? Right? Everything I need. Triple Crown, is that the item? Yeah. Right? What's it called? Was he on a chariot or did he take an Uber X? Who cares? And the answer is, you know why we care? Because Mishelo Natenu Lo, says the Midrash. Because what he had achieved in the refraining, in the holding himself back from sin, was not something that was one-dimensional. So therefore the reward for that mitzvah could also not be one-dimensional. It doesn't only involve his thoughts, his heart. It involves the holding back of his physical self, his hands, his legs, his neck, his eyes, every part of the body of Yosef that was involved in not doing the sin needed to be individually rewarded, individually recognized. So therefore says the Torah, hold on, what did his hands get? What did his legs get? What happened on his neck? He had something? What did he put on his head? What about his abo? His abo is on the throne. What are we telling you over here? Says the Yefet Torah something magnificent. That every part of the body that was involved in the mitzvah was rewarded separately. Now, you look at this and you think to yourself, okay, now what? What am I going to do differently? Because I know this. I want to share something that I think is very powerful. I think that's really the intention of the Yefet Torah, and that's really the intention of the Midrash. We're not trying to tell you that in Gan Eden, Hashem's going to look at every finger and be like, this little piggy didn't go to the market on Shabbat, and this little piggy stayed home when it wasn't allowed to leave the Techum. This little piggy ate roast beef with the best hechsher and was only Bet Yosef. And this little piggy, right, that's not, let's reward all the little piggies. That's not what we're trying to communicate. What we're trying to say is that mitzvot are multi-dimensional. A lot of people think that the mitzvah is a one-size-fits-all experience. You gave or you didn't give tzedakah. You learned or you didn't learn Torah. You prayed in a minyan or you didn't pray in a minyan. You went to shul, didn't go to shul. You honored your parents, you didn't honor your parents. But my friends, that's not how mitzvot work. That's not how the service of God works. When the pasuk says, Kal asmotai tomarna, all of my bones shall say. What are we trying to communicate? They talk about God's greatness. What are we trying to communicate? That all of your bones are part of the mitzvah. The answer is, my friends, not just whether you did or didn't do the mitzvah matters, but how you did the mitzvah, in which way, in how much of yourself was roped into the mitzvah. That's what God is looking to be able to see. You see, for many people, I'll give you an example. I always remember this. In Israel, there's this thing called birthright trips. Anyone here been on a birthright trip? Okay. So, did you pay for the birthright trip? Okay. Baruch Hashem. No one feels like a bigger dib than the guy who paid for the birthright trip finds out someone else pays for it. But, what you'll know is, in order to get birthright funding, what do you need to do? There's a bunch of places you need to go to. So if, let's say, I decide, Shlomo Fire wants to run a trip to, can I get birthright funding? I don't know, I want to go visit my kids. It's too expensive. El Al's charging now a few dollars more because they're the only ones in the business, supply and demand. Right? It's hard. I heard also they made all sorts of security upgrades that they have to pay for. All right? It's hard. I can't get there. I have a fantastic idea. I'll take my wife and my kids, will go to Israel, and I'll get birthright funding. Doesn't work like that. Birthright funding is from a certain age to a certain age. Did you go to Israel already? And when you get there, did you visit the Knesset? Did you go to Har Herzl? Did you do this? Did you see that? Did you go? There's a lot of things you have to do. So every trip, you know what they do? They take the bus and they bring the people to Har Herzl. Tick. They went to the Knesset. Tick. If that's what a mitzvah is, you missed the boat. You missed the boat. The nature of a mitzvah is something that needs to be done not in order to be able to say that you did it, but it needs to be done with every bit of koach, of focus, of joy that a person has. And that, I think, my friends, is what kal atzmotai tomarna means. It doesn't mean that, you know what, all of my body is saying praise to Hashem. I think what the pasuk is really telling you is that if not done with all of my body, then where's the praise? If it's not all of me, then where's the praise? Let me explain. I'm a sports fan. Always have been. Played a lot of sports growing up. You know, there's many different things that you could be busy with. One of the best things that you could be busy with that's the least damaging is sports. You know, you could be gambling, you could be smoking, you could be drugs, you could be alcohol, you know, you could be into every movie. Sports, better than other things. What a great slogan. Sports, better than other things. So I was a big sports guy. In every stadium, there's one of these guys. There's a guy called Larry. Okay? There's a guy in the Rangers, every day he comes, he brings his pot. There's another guy, every time the camera zooms in on him, he's doing his old dance. Abus, the guy's 50 years old, he's doing his dance on the stairs like a Majnun case. Every stadium's got one of those guys. You look at this guy, everybody smells Hazit. This guy, he bleeds for the Knicks, for the Rangers, for the Giants. It's hard to bleed for the Giants, by the way. It's a hard one.
And the Jets.
Well, the Jets, Ishtabach Shemo. The funniest part was, at least we knew that this was not our year. The Jets are like going in, they're winning the Super Bowl. They barely won the toilet bowl. Okay. Listen, my friends, that guy, that's a real fan. That's a real fan. Are we as much fans of Borei Olam as they are of a bunch of random people who put on the same color shirt? Think of the fervor, of the energy that you feel in a stadium when the team is doing well. Oh, they're going crazy. You're down 9 goals. Oh, they're going nuts. Who are we supporting? A bunch of random people. You have no relationship with them. You know why we love these guys? Because they're wearing a blue shirt with red letters. We hate the other guys who are wearing a red shirt with blue letters. Think about how Majnun that is. It's crazy. But look at how excited we get. We get swept up. Huge fans. Could we be that guy, Larry, for Hashem? Dancing with all your strength, even though you're 52 years old with a beer belly? Yeah? Could you imagine? You know, the camera comes on you, you rip off your shirt, your whole body is painted. Shiviti Hashem Lenegdi Tamid. Can you imagine that? Are you that guy? The Pasuk, the Midrash is telling us that every bit of Yosef that was involved in refraining from the Averah was rewarded individually. Not to tell you, listen guys, if you want to hook up your pinky, make sure you give tzedakah one day, which is a small thing. Otherwise, what's going to happen to your pinky in Olam Haba? That's not what we're learning over here. We're learning over here that the Torah, HaKadosh Baruch Hu, wants to see if a person does the mitzvah with all of them. So, I want you to try and do the following exercise the next time it comes to a mitzvah that you're doing. Whether it's tefillah, whether it's Torah, coming to the shiur, beautiful. Beautiful, amazing. But then you're sitting there, kind of, oh yeah, the spring with the well. Yeah, good, Rabbi, thank you. You wake up, he's still talking about the spring in the well. I must not have missed anything. You understand? You came, but you came exhausted. You came, but you have your phone out. In every mitzvah that a person does, that was terrible timing, by the way, sorry. Hazi, right as I said you came, but you took your phone out. I looked at a guy and he had his phone out. Hazi, I'm going to look the other way now, okay? Looking at nobody. I'm looking at myself. Here's looking at you, kid. My friends, I want you to approach this question and say, how could I do this mitzvah with more of me? The question of tzedakah. You know, I think people understand tzedakah to be the giving of money. That's how people understand tzedakah. And they think that a bigger mitzvah of tzedakah is to write a bigger check. Now, first of all, to be clear, to everyone planning on writing big checks to the shul, you're right, that is the best mitzvah. Don't not do that. But that's not the whole mitzvah of tzedakah. That's not the whole mitzvah. Sometimes you have a situation where the shul, the school, the mikveh, whatever it might be, needs money. And the vast majority of the conversation is really about, so where is my name going to go? That's what the conversation is about. Maybe, as an example, a nice thing might be to ask, yeah, you go to this yeshiva, you go to this place, you go to the mikveh, you think to yourself, how many people use the mikveh? Wow. So this donation is going to allow 1,000 women to keep taharat mishpacha. Invest yourself, all of yourself, in that mitzvah, in your mind, in your heart. When you're giving the tzedakah, think to yourself, I love this tzedakah. I'm so excited about Torah that's going to be learned. I'm going to give money to Simcha, to this mental health organization for young people. Wow, I'm thinking about all these kids who are having such a tough time, that this is going to help them get the therapy, the help that they needed. Here, take my money, use it, help these kids. Imagine that's how you gave the tzedakah. What a game change in the experience. Your machshava is in the mitzvah. It's not in how you wrote the zeros or where the name is. Your heart's in it. And when God is rewarding you for a mitzvah, i.e., what is the part of the mitzvah that is deserving of sakar, is the investment that you place. You go to a place that's kosher. And you know what? You could do it by rote, or you could say to yourself, you know something? I grew up with this, so it's easy for me. Not everybody, they grew up with this. It's not easy for everybody. But when you go to a place and you think to yourself, you know, I'm eating a burger, or think to yourself, I'm eating kosher. That's involving your machshava. This idea of being a person who all day long, where do they live? They live in a world of mitzvot and ma'asim tovim. Where do they live? They live in a world of Torah. I have a friend, a very special man. He's going through a very, very difficult time. There's a lot of different challenges that are facing him, that are facing his family. It's very, 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 very difficult. And he said to me, I want you to know. He says, whenever I'm feeling very down, whenever I'm feeling upset, I'll put on the class, breakfast in the class. He says, and somehow there'll be something that you address in the class that speaks exactly one sentence, one line, that speaks exactly to what I need. I said, that's amazing. Very special. So I said, he said he could tell that I wanted to say something. He said, what do you want? You want to say? I was biting my tongue. I felt the guy has enough problems, as he. I said, can I be honest with you? He said, yes. I said, do me a favor. Every once in a while, don't put the class on only because you're desperate and dying on the floor and you need to pick me up. The Torah that we're sharing is not your Prozac, your Valium. It's not what it is. If that's what it is, it's the thing you turn to when you're suffering and you're down. That's beautiful, but it can't only be that. It can't be the thing that gets you out of jail, but not the thing that you use to build your life. Every once in a while, just to change it up, could you put it on at a nice time? Could you associate Torah with beauty, not just with relieving your pain and your suffering? My friends, when we do mitzvot and we learn Torah, we're not only achieving sachar in the world to come, we're building something for ourselves. We're changing the nature of our existence. Once upon a time, all we did was play tennis and golf. That's what we did. And we watched TV or movies. That's what you did. You went out to a Broadway show. That's what you did. This was your life. That was your entertainment. Now someone asks you, what are you doing? As time goes on, you start shifting in your mind. What am I doing? Well, I realized that in the community there's not enough. You start telling people not about who you beat in the tennis tournament. You start telling people about this project you have. You don't know. I joined this class. We're learning Gemara 3 times a week. I'm losing my mind, okay? But you know what? I'm starting to get it. I'm starting to get it. You know, imagine, you hear yourself saying these things. You hear yourself saying, I'm in you're like, who am I talking about? Who's this person that I'm talking about? These words that are coming out of my mouth. My friends, the Gemara, the Midrash explaining to us, Mishelo natenulo. What Yosef was given by Paro. Paro thought that he gave Yosef something. But what Paro gave Yosef, Yosef had really already given himself. In the physical manifestation of his neck wearing a golden choker, that is something that Paro gave him. The crown on his head was something that Paro gave him. But with or without Paro, Yosef had a crown on his head. What was the crown on his head? The crown on his head was what he had done. The way he looked at himself. You know who I am? I'm a king. What's a king? A king is a person that no one tells him what to do. No desire is going to tell me what to do. No desperation is going to tell my body what to do. So his body was already riding al-markevet ha-mishneh. His neck that didn't turn this way or that way, his neck was already in the service of HaKadosh Baruch Hu higher. So what are we doing? I'll give you a mashal, one of my favorite mishalim, which is bittersweet. And then I'll turn the floor over after Kaddish to my dear friend, who is significantly shades tanned more than we saw him last. My friends, spray tan. So right next door to where I lived, somebody opened up a spray tan place. So now, anytime I go, if I go away, I come back, people ask me, oh, did you use the spray tan place? I'm like, could you imagine me ever using? Do you know me? What am I sitting there? Come to shul looking like Donald Trump. What are you thinking? Okay. There's a fellow who serves the king faithfully. One of his chief construction workers. He built every palace for him. He built every building, every storehouse, every congress, the ballrooms, everything the king needed for 50 years of his life. He served him faithfully. Every time he paid him what he was due. And Baruch Hashem, it was a living. He did well. Anyway, the king says to him, listen, you've served me so well. You've been such an amazing person. I know that you're retiring now. You're getting older. You want to spend some more time, relaxing with you, seeing your grandkids. He says, do me one more job. I want you to build me one more palace. Last one, and that's it. Anyway, the guy says to the king, he's like, listen, I'm a little tired. I'm a little exhausted. And the king says, please, just one more. And the guy says, sure, okay, fine. But he's exhausted, he's tired, wants to go. He's eyeing the door. So he builds the palace. If the old palaces, he waited 6 months to get, the exact right, sink from this exact supplier made out of solid gold. This time he picked it up from Home Depot. Right? Anyway, the countertops, every other thing he did ever was the famous, the marble. My dear friend from Panama, Didier Hafez, he's a big marble guy. Maybe he'll tell me after the class. I got it wrong. Is there something vitrine, something marble, something with a V? All right. Sorry. Pereira. Carrera. No, something with a V. Vitravina. I don't know. He'll tell me afterwards. All right. Anyway, right? He ordered the marble from Didier. Fantastic. Okay. His fireplace. Forget about it. It wasn't from Louis the 14th. It was from Louis the 1st. Okay. Predated everything. All right? Everything in the house that he did all the years was the best. Now, Home Depot. Where do you get the shades from? Kmart. Alav Shalom. Right? Where's the table? Where's the table from? The WhatsApp group. New York Gemach WhatsApp group. Okay? He picked it up on the sidewalk. Where do you get this? He just wants to get done. He builds the house. The construction is not all that great. The finishings, the furnishings are not all that great, but it's a big, fancy, huge house. Anyway, at the end he goes to the king and he says, I'm finished, I'll see you later, sayonara, alamak. It's probably not sayonara, it's probably sayonara. Sayonara is not like marinara, a different item. The king says, Hazaku Baruch. And he gathers everyone there. And he says, everyone please come with us. We're going to go tour the last palace, the last castle that was built by my dear friend. Everyone comes. They're looking. And the king has half a smile on his face as they're walking around. And the king, and the man is looking at the king. He's thinking he's a little upset. Maybe it's not up to the standard. But the king is not upset. Not happy, he's not upset. He's got a half a smile on his face. And when they finish the tour, he stands up in front of everyone. He says, this last palace, this last castle that I had my friend build, he takes out his keys. He says, a gift from me to you for all the hard work that you've done. Thank you so much. And all of a sudden the guy realizes that everything that he did, he dialed in, that he was dialing in for himself. If he would have waited, he would have had the gold sink. If he would have waited, he would have had the marble. If he would have waited, he would have had the best construction. If he would have done it properly, the windows would be triple glazed like a donut instead of single glaze. But he dialed it in. And what did he build in the end? He built his own home. And his own home is now lacking. My friends, we do mitzvot and ma'asim tovim. We are building our own home. Not just in Olam Haba. In Olam Hazeh. We're building our reality. We're building our life. And when you do the mitzvah with everything that you have, with all your thoughts, you gave the guy money, great. Now ask him, is there something I could do to help you with your taxes? Maybe we can help you spend that money more efficiently. I understand that you're having problems with medication, I have a guy who could help you with Medicaid, with Medicare. I know someone that has connections to the best doctor. That's what it means to be involved in a mitzvah, to actually care about the mitzvah. And when you do that, you realize that the reward that you get in the world to come and in this world is for each and every piece and part that you did the mitzvah in. So I want to ask one question that I want you to have in your mind when you approach the mitzvah. Okay? I remember when they instituted a new item at the airport when you check in. You scan your passport, you scan your boarding pass, you put in your numbers, however you do it, it pulls up your seat. If you're a guy like me, you're flying not only economy, but now they have basic economy. Economy light. Have you seen that? Right? Yeah. Basically, economy light is when that you lasso the back of the plane and you hold on until you get there. They give you like a surfboard. That's economy light, right? You know, soon economy light you can't take on a suitcase, you can't take on a carry-on. Soon economy light they're going to be like mehila. You want to go on the plane with clothes? You have to tick the clothing option, right? They'll get you for everything. Oh, did you want a breathing flight? Right, this is where we're heading, okay? I think there's an airline in England, in Europe, that is shifting to no seats at all, strap hanging, legit, not even joking, okay? My friends, I want to ask you, you ever see that? You scan your item, you have your seat, 972B in the corner, okay? Asks you a simple question. What does it say? Would you like to purchase an upgrade? Ever see that? Would you like to purchase an upgrade? Usually the answer for me is no. But how much is it? $139. You could sit on a chair that's this much wider. For $239, you could sit on a chair that's wider and you could pick up your legs. For $449, you could sit in a chair that's wider, that lies flat. For $549, they have a gravity chamber, you could sit upside down. $949, this is how it works. Upgrade, 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 upgrade. Is there ever a day you hit no? You get on the plane and they say, sir, we noticed that you have a gold level status, diamond. We're going to upgrade you for free. Is there a better day than you get upgraded for free? Is there a better day? Sir, you bought the hotel room with the view of the parking lot. We're upgrading you to the view of the ocean. You ever have that? Anything feel better than being upgraded? I want you to ask yourself that question. As you're doing the mitzvah, would you like to purchase an upgrade? It's the mitzvah and a smile. It's the mitzvah and telling the guy, look, I know it's tough, but you got this. You're going to be okay. Upgrade. You come to shul, instead of just sitting there waiting for it to be over, you know what? You take at least 2 minutes in the middle, at the end, the beginning, where you sit and you say to Hashem, you talk to God with your eyes closed, with all of your heart. It's an upgrade. That's the mitzvah of Yosef HaSadiq. That's the reward that the Midrash is describing.